What, did you think I was going to make my first tutorial on an empty stomach? So now that I've had some waffles, let's talk about flash photography. It took me a long time to get used to using one of these. In fact, at first I hated it, because for a long time I felt like the lighting that I got out of a speedlight was just never what I wanted it to be. It took me a while to realize that it wasn't speedlights that are the problem, it's technique. So my hope here is that I can help you avoid making some of the same mistakes that I've made in the past. I'm going to do that by going over a few basic ways of using a speedlight. We're not going to get into anything too advanced, but if this does prove to be a popular subject, maybe we'll check out some more advanced techniques somewhere down the line. So my friend Morgan came over and we shot some pictures using this in a number of different ways. First, we did it with the light facing directly forwards. Then we're going to use some very inexpensive modifiers. I got the two of these on Amazon for $5 back when I bought my very first flash, which itself was only about 60 bucks. This first one's kind of like a softbox. This one's also kind of softbox-ish. It used to be my go-to back in the day. Then we're going to try it with the flash facing upwards and the white card out. And then finally, we're going to do it with the flash like this, using the ceiling as a bounce. Let's check it out. Okay, so jumping right in, let's look at our first photo here. This is taken with the flash facing directly forward at the subject. Right off the bat, like, this is not a flattering picture, and all apologies to my volunteer here, because now I've gone and posted this all over the internet, but there's just way too much light concentrated on the face itself. The shadows are just way too harsh. You see there's like this little bit of a white line on the forehead, which at first glance might look like, you know, a sweat spot, but really that's just a concentrated burst of light hitting them right in the face. So if you are out at an event taking pictures of people, or you're out with your friends and you're taking pictures of them, like, do them all a favor and don't shoot like this. The results are just not very good. We go over to the side view here, and again, yeah, we've got like the massive amount of white just shining off of the cheekbone. We got the harsh shadows. Everything else is way too washed out. I did try taking these into Lightroom to see if I could fix them at all, and all of the changes that I could think of to make really just accentuated how much was wrong with it in the first place. So I ended up just scrapping any edits that I tried to make. The only instance where I can imagine you would want to shoot with a flash facing directly forward are if you're either like a crime scene tech and you just need to get all the detail illuminated, or you are a paparazzi photographer. Now this is with our first flash modifier. That's the square shaped softbox style modifier. It's not as terrible as the last one, but it's still, it's almost as bad. Let's be real. We've still got like way too much light concentrated on the face. We've got shadows that are just really harsh. The whole thing just does not have like a flattering or appealing look to it at all. It's not a very good way, I think, to shoot a photo. And I think part of that comes from the fact that typically with a softbox, you want to be aiming from slightly above the subject, at the very least. We are used to seeing people being lit from above. Anything else in our minds just doesn't look natural or right. So as much as this was supposed to diffuse the light, I don't think it's done a very good job of that at all. And even on the side view, again, the same. It's not really working for us. Now moving along, this next one is the rounded softbox modifier. I actually used to use this all the time back when I was first starting out. Looking back on that, I may have gone in a different direction if I'd have known then what I know now, but it is better than the last two by a significant amount. The light and the shadows, that contrast is not anywhere near as harsh as it was before. Going over to the side view, apart from like the whites being a little bit blown out, like this is not horrible. It's not great either. Like I wouldn't want this in my portfolio, but like if you're just starting out and you're a beginner photographer, I think that something like this would be very forgivable. Now this is with the flash pointing directly up and the white card out to bounce the flash off of. Right away, this is a massive improvement over the last three styles that we looked at. I think that the light is a lot softer, the shadows are a lot softer, everything just looks a lot cleaner, and the details all just look absolutely fantastic. Going into the side view, this is even better, I think, on the side view. I think that looks fantastic. And finally, like I actually did take these ones into Lightroom. Again, I don't usually move the clarity slider down, but I did do that in this case just because I felt like that helped make the light and shadow play here even softer and make everything just look a little bit more natural. And I added a little vignetting myself. And again, the side view, I think, yeah, that looks absolutely fantastic. So. And for the final example, this is the flash pointing forwards and upwards to bounce the light off of the ceiling and illuminate the subject. This is what I typically do now, unless I'm in a place where the ceilings are just too high to make it work, because it provides the most amount of illumination. Like if you're trying to get a group of people illuminated, or you really want like the background to be well lit as well, this is really the best way to do it. Again, like this looks very... And again, the lighting here is good. It's nice and it's soft and the shadows are not too severe. Again, on the side view, it's looking fairly decent. And again, I took these ones into Lightroom as well. And you'll see that when your photo is lit properly, there is so much more that you can do with it. At the very, very least, I think that these look worthy of like a LinkedIn profile picture. I think they're pretty decent. It's nothing amazing, but we are using a speedlight here. This is not a professional lighting setup. This is just a tiny little light on top of a camera. That being said, for what it is, I think that is a pretty fantastic result. Okay, so those were a few basic ways of using your flash. A few extra tips for you. If you are using your flash to bounce light off of a ceiling to illuminate your subject, you have to take a few things into account. The first is the focal length of your lens, the second is the height of the ceiling, and the third is the distance from your subject. In all cases, you're going to want to adjust the angle. This is going to take some experimenting, some getting used to things. But after a while, you should get a pretty good idea of what angle to use to bounce your light. Also, regardless of whatever technique you use, you want to train yourself to instinctually adjust the brightness of your flash depending on your distance from your subject. The further away you move, the brighter you want to set it. If you're using a flash like this one that provides exposure compensation data to your camera, always take it with a grain of salt. Remember, the angle of the light, the space of the room, the distance from your subject, all of these things can factor in. So don't always trust the exposure compensation data that you get as being 100% accurate. And finally, just go out there and try different things out and find what works for you. I hope that you found this helpful, and we'll see you next time. By the way, guys, say hi to Morrow. Morrow, say hi. Okay, he's not paying attention. But while I've got your attention, just please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that if you enjoyed this video, especially if you've got other friends who are into photography who you think might benefit from this. Feel free to pass it along to them. And if you want to help support this channel, I do have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/ZachEmery. Again, that's patreon.com/ZACEMERY. You can help me out for as little as $1 a month, and it really goes a long way towards making sure that I still am able to keep bringing you more and more content. Bye.